So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear friends across the world. And also I'm saluting the distinguished speakers on this panel. And really thank you for the opportunity to speak at the Changemakers20 Summit. Allow me to come from a different perspective with a reminder that 2023 is a really special year in international policy, since it marks the halfway point to the Sustainable Development Goals, the ambitious set of goals focused on reducing poverty and hunger, ensuring access to health and education, gender equality, addressing climate and environment, amongst others. Now, after the G20 Summit in India on the 9th and the 10th of September, world leaders will gather again 10 days later, this time in New York, to review progress towards the SDGs and decide the course of action for the remaining 8 years. Now, one of the main outcomes of the summit will be a political declaration. A zero draft actually has been recently released for consultation. And so I say it's an important year as we are facing unprecedented, multiple and interlocking crises. So we are expecting from both the G20 Summit and the SDG Summit inspirational, transformative, and accelerated action toward the target year of 2030 that would help to reignite a sense of hope, of optimism, and enthusiasm for the 2030 agenda. Now, at the half-time mark, however, the promise, it is threatened. It is for the first time in decades that development progress actually is reversing under the combined impacts of climate disasters, conflict and war, economic challenges, whilst we are also still facing the lingering effects of COVID-19. And however, in a world that champions progress and development, it is really disheartening to see that gender-based inequalities continue to persist. Therefore, there is an urgent need to remove barriers for gender equality, to shatter these barriers and glass ceilings and forge a path towards a fair and justice society for all. And what does this mean? Well, it means providing comprehensive support system, raising awareness, educating individuals, and holding perpetrators accountable, which can really help us to ensure a safer and more equal society for everyone. It means that we need to create an environment where both women and men are equally valued and respected. And it means promoting diversity and inclusivity in our workplace, fostering a culture that embraces and celebrates different perspectives. It means providing support and mentorship to aspiring women leaders, enabling them to rise through the ranks and make meaningful impact. Gender equality, it's not just a women's issue, it's a human rights issue that affects us all. So the G20 followed by the SDG Summit really serve as a rallying cry to recharge momentum, to recommit to a vision of the future that ensures that no one is left behind. So we need fundamental shifts in commitment, in solidarity, in financing and action, which can hopefully put us back on track to end poverty, achieve gender equality, but also, I think, as we have heard from other speakers, that to reset a balanced relationship with Mother Nature. But world leaders' active engagement is not enough. A political declaration is not enough to turn this ship around. And this will not be achievable without the voices and the contribution of youth. The need to urge G20 leaders to listen to the voices of vulnerable groups, of women and girls, people with disabilities, and act on the issues that really directly impact people's daily lives. Now, the path to gender equality requires a collective effort. It requires us to challenge our own biases, advocate for policy changes, and to stand up against discrimination. India has made it clear that it wants to see its G20 presidency to give voice to concerns of the global south. So really, India played and still plays a decisive role in bringing all voices to the table. Now, C20 has brought together an unprecedented number of civil society actors. And we've heard from the other distinguished speakers on the panel on the role of a civil society at C20. As Ama, the chair of the C20, emphasized, we all need to be involved in putting in sincere effort to develop solutions and innovative methods. For instance, how we can predict environmental disasters, which really helps to save many lives, or ensure a balance between genders. So we don't have to wait for the future we want. You can be the light, and with the strong voices of the youth, of the women and girls, active participations, and the values of empathy and compassion at the core of our intervention and initiatives, we can be co-creators of our world right now. And everyone can join the global movement for change, as we are doing at this moment as we speak, participating and contributing to this inspiring Changemakers20 Summit. So let us be the change, as we have heard in the opening remarks as well. I will be speaking more in detail on existing overview of the progress that has been made in achieving gender equality globally, including the challenges that continue to hinder gender equality progress in the session coming up, I think right after or immediately after this. So looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much.